All right, today we're going to take a look at ordering decimals. This concept is actually in lesson 3-1, but since there's so much to that lesson, we're going to learn about this one by itself. So there's two strategies we're going to learn. Today students will be able to order decimals by lining up the decimal point and comparing place value, and students will be able to order decimals by plotting them on a number line. So let's first just take a look at this helpful hint. Writing zeros at the end of a decimal does not change the value of the decimal. So you can see here that 3/10 equals 30 hundredths equals 300 thousandths. Doesn't matter how many decimals we add, it stays exactly the same. So let's take a look at this example. We have two stars in the constellation Orion. The apparent magnitude of the first one is 12 hundredths. The apparent magnitude of the second is 50 hundredths, or 5/10. Which star has the smaller magnitude? So you can see what they did here is we lined up the ones place, the decimal, the tenths, and the hundredths. The easiest way to do that on your paper is just doing your decimal points first and lining them up. Then go ahead and stick in your numbers. And then your decimal places are all already set. You automatically have lined up your tenths and your hundredths places. So once they did that, first they looked at the ones place that both had zeros. So we kind of cross that out, they tie. Then what they did is look at the tenths place. Here we have a 1, here we have a 5. So I can tell that this number is going to be smaller and this number is going to be larger. So they wrote that as an inequality and said that 12 hundredths is less than 50 hundredths. So how about if I'm given a whole list as we are down here? Well, if I was doing this on my paper, I would look at the fact that I have 5 numbers and I would just put 5 decimal points in order and then copy each one in there. Now, since I am able to move my numbers around, I'm going to go ahead and do that. But I just wanted to point out how you might do this on your paper. So I'm going to take each number, give myself a little bit of space in between, and I'm lining up my decimal points. What that does is it's going to line up my place value. So all my tens are in a row, my ones place is all in a row, my tenths place, my hundredths, and so on. Now I want the same number of digits after the decimal, so I'm going to put in some zeros as placeholders. That's just going to help me compare. So in this case, we're going to have 4 digits after the decimal in each problem, just like this one does. All right, so we're going to start by comparing place value with the largest place value. So we're going to start with the tens place. You can see that this is the only number that has a tens place. So this is going to be my largest number. So if I think about ranking these numbers in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 being the greatest, 1 being the smallest, I can right away give this a 5. That's going to be my largest number. I'm going to cross it out so that I know that I've already used it. All right, now we're going to compare the ones place. So I'm just going to underline that in each one. I can see that this has nothing or 0, and these all tie at 4. So this is obviously going to be my very smallest number. So let's go ahead and put a 1 by it and cross it out. So since we have tie, 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 I'm going to cross those out because I have to move on to the next digit. So let's underline the tenths place and take a look. I have 1, 0, 1. 0 is the only one that's different. That is smaller than 1. So since it's not my smallest number, it's going to be my next smallest. And let's give it a 2. Now I'm going to cross that because I'm finished with that one. Now these two tie. So let's cross it out and move on to the next digit, the next place value, which is the hundredths place. We have a 0 and we have an 8. So this is going to be my next smallest number because 0 is less than 8. Since I've already used 1 and 2, it's going to be the third. And then this will be number 4. So please take the time, when you have a list of numbers horizontally, take the time to write out your decimals, put those numbers in, and really take the time to use this strategy to line up your place values. And then again, compare starting with your largest place value and moving to the right. Underline the digit you're comparing, cross them out when they tie, and just use this ranking. That's going to really help you. And then once I have these ranked, then I could go ahead and write them in order by saying, all right, the number 1 is going to go first, comma. Then number 2, 4.08. Then number 3, 4.1. Number 4, 4.18. And number 5, 14.18. So there are problems where they want you to put it back in that horizontal line, and that's how you would use that ranking in order to do that. All right, our next strategy is using a number line. What's tricky about this is you have to understand how a number line works with decimals. You can kind of think of a ruler, how a centimeter ruler, is kind of split into these centimeters, which is a tenth. I'm sorry, which is, part of your ruler. And then if I want to split up each centimeter here, then I could look at splitting that into 10 to getting my hundredths. All right, so let's take a look. We have 4 over here and 5 over here. Let's actually think about this like it's 4 feet to 5 feet. So I can split that into 10 equal parts and say this is 4.1 feet, 4.2 feet, 4.3, etc. So I split that into 10 equal groups. And then I could split the tenths into 10 equal groups, which is really small. And then each of that would be a hundredth, which is this place value right here. So again, this is the ones place. That's how many feet. This is the tenths place when I cut my feet into tenths. And then when I cut each tenth into another 10, that gives me hundredths. All right, let's look at their example first. We're going to order the decimals from least to greatest. 14 and 35 hundredths, 14 and 3 tenths, and 14 and 5 hundredths. They used our first strategy, lined up the decimals, added zeros so that we would have 2 spots after each decimal. And then I can go ahead and compare. I can see that when I line this up that 14 and 30 hundredths is less than 14 and 35 hundredths because they both have a 10, they both have a 4, they both have 3 in the tenths place, but 0 is less than 5. Okay, then I can compare 14 and 5 hundredths is less than 14 and 35 hundredths because I tie with the tens, the ones, but then 0 is less than 3 tenths. And then 14.05 is less than 14.3 because they tie, 0 is less than 3. So that's just sort of what we did last strategy. But now let's go ahead and use my number line. Here we have 14, here we have 15. We split that into 10 equal parts, so 14.1, 14.2, all the way to 14.9. Well, 14.05, let's plot that first, is greater than 14, but it's less than 14.1. It's right in the middle, so it's 14 and 5 hundredths. So if I'd split this into 10, it goes right here. 14 and 30 hundredths are 14.3. I just look at 14.1, 2, 3, plotted here. 14.35, we have 14 and 3 tenths, but we also add 5 little hundredths to that, but it's not quite 14.4, so it's halfway in between. Now I can use my number line and easily see that this number is the smallest, then 14 and 3 tenths, then 14 and 35 hundredths, and I can write those numbers in order. So let's take a look at this example right here. Again, over here we have 4 and 5. I split it into 10 equal parts. So this is 4 and 1 tenth, 4 and 2 tenths, 4 and 3, etc. Now again, I can look at splitting that into 10 more equal parts. And then these will be our hundredths. So let's try to plot each point. 14 and 8 hundredths. Well, I have a 0 in the tenths place, but I know because I have this 8, it's larger than 4.0, but it's going to be less than 4.1. So I'm going to put it right about here and then draw a line. This is 8 hundredths, so if I split that into 10, it's going to be right about here. And we'll put a dot. All right, let's take this next number. I can see it has a 1 in the tenths place, but then it's more than just 4 and 1/10. So it's going to be greater than 4 and 1/10, but less than 4 and 2/10. Let's look at the hundredths. There are 0 hundredths. So this is going to be really close to 4.1. It's just a little bit larger. All right, then here's our next number. Again, look at the tenths place. We know it's between 4 and 5. If we look at the tenths place, it's a little greater than 4.1, and it's not quite 4.2. So if this was split into 10 equal parts, that would be our hundredths, and it's going to be at about that 8 point right here, just before 4.2. All right, and our next number, 4 and 58 hundredths, I can see is, if I look at the tenths place, is going to be greater than 4 and 5/10, but less than 4 and 6/10. We're not quite there yet. If I had 2 more hundredths, this would go up to 4.6, but we're not there yet. So again, if I split this into 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I have 8 hundredths after the 5/10, so it would go right about here. And our last number, let's look at the tenths place, is greater than 4.8, but less than 4.9. So we need to look at the hundredths. If I split this into 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 4.9 it would be the 10. It's going to be 4 and 8/10 plus one more little hundredth. So it's just a tiny bit greater than 4 and 8/10. All right, so you're going to be doing on your own and with a partner. This activity, I'd like you to do what I just did. You're going to go ahead and take each number, see if you can figure out about where on the number line it will go, write it down, and then draw a line and a dot to be a little bit more exact, and just cross out each number as you plot it. All right, then I want you to go ahead and use our strategy of lining up decimals to see if you can solve both of these story problems. And then this activity, you are going to order the decimal 2 ways. First, you're going to go ahead and line up your decimals. Then you're going to write all these numbers just in the order you see them. Then go ahead and use our ordering strategy and start to rank these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. I guess there's 6 numbers total. Rank them here with the numbering system. And once you know the order, whatever you put a 1 by, that's going to be your smallest number. You're going to order them least to greatest here. Then I would like you to just practice what we did before, write each in expanded form and in word form. And then again, try to plot those on the number line. So you're going to work on that with a partner and then do some other activities on your own. Good luck. Oh, and by the way, if you need more help, I have that link. Go to the online textbook, do some further videos and activities there.